G'day, Teeth here from pickinglessons.com. In this banjo lesson, we're going to take a well-known classical guitar piece and translate that onto the banjo. This piece, Estudio by Aguado, is normally played in A minor on the guitar. It's one of the beginner pieces you might find if you're playing classical guitar, but it works so nicely here on the banjo. Essentially, it's a study using a variety of different voicings of chords and arpeggios. We're going to play them up the neck here on the banjo, and we're going to play it in G minor. We're in standard open G tuning, but it works really nicely, and we'll find our G minor up the neck here, and we'll start to work around our chord voicings up in this position. The right hand focuses on an arpeggio pattern where we basically play a forward-backward roll. So we're essentially going thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index, all the way through. And our left hand, that's the challenge. If you've been playing banjo for a while, but you've been working on your right hand, your left hand, this is going to be a real challenge for your left hand position. There are very much some tricky chords in here, so it's not for the faint-hearted. It's going to take a bit of work for the left hand. There's some big chord stretches in there and some interesting voicings and combinations of fingers. In a moment, we're going to have a look at the first four measures to get us going of this arrangement. But if you head on over to pickinglessons.com, you'll find yourself a copy of the tablature. You'll also find the next part of this lesson in the members section, where we'll take a look at the second half of this A section, measures 5 through 8, plus we'll look at the B section as well. So pickinglessons.com. So first of all, let's have a slow play through the first four measures. We'll break that down nice and close, and then we'll talk about some of the techniques needed in the left hand position, and a little bit about the right hand too. First four measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we are in the key of G minor. Normally on the guitar you'd hear this in A minor. Again, it's one of those beginner classical guitar pieces that a lot of guitar players have learnt. In G minor though, on the banjo, it fits really nicely, and we can pretty much play it in a very similar way, other than the fact we're in G minor. We're certainly playing it up the neck though. On the guitar you'll find it in the open position. So already we're making it more challenging on the banjo, just simply because we don't have access to the same lower register notes, so we're taking it up an octave. And that will give us more area to play around. Now, we're in G minor, but standard open G tuning, so I don't have to change anything. We're playing through here in these first four measures. We're going to look at the chords that we're playing as well. So basically, these first four measures, we have a G minor, and we have a D, we have a D7, and we have a G minor. So as we move on through, we're going to analyze the chord positions we're playing and look at the different voicings we're using. So let's firstly take a look at what we have here in the first measure, this G minor chord. Firstly, we're going to make use of our fifth string, our high fifth string, as our root note for this chord, plus a B flat and a D. Now we could voice this chord as a triad here, but I've chosen to play it as the open string, making use of the fact we do have this high G string there. So we have this G minor, and I'd suggest that you need to use fingers 2 and finger 4 there. You'll see why as we progress through, but that's pretty consistent for the G minor there. So finger 2, finger 4. Thumb, index, middle, index. We're in 4/4 time. That literally is the pattern for the right hand the entire time through. Thumb, index, middle, index. That's part of this study for when you're playing on classical guitar, working on those fingers. But here on the banjo, it works great. So the next chord up we have is a D, and you'll know this voicing. So that triad with your little finger there, you'll have come across that before. So we start out with the triad part of that chord. Second, first and fourth. Bring in the low D there within the voicing with finger 3. So. Now, as we progress through to the next measure, we've got a D7. Now to catch these notes, we're going to shift position. And we have the third, the second and the first holding this triad, and you'll notice it looks like the D7 down the neck here, but we're fretting it up an octave. Just playing that one twice. Finishing in our G minor position, second and fourth fingers, but open G, the octave lower. And that's one of the reasons we're playing it up the neck. So we have that open G down the neck. We've also got an open D later on that we're going to access as well. So we're jumping down that octave. We couldn't do that if we played it down the neck. Now, so we're in G minor, we've got some challenge to face, we're up the neck, there's some chord positions in here we're gonna have to learn that are quite tricky. So as we progress through, we're definitely gonna spend some time working on those. But these first 4 measures are pretty cruisy. Let's just have a slow play through these. So 3, 4, and. Into the D position, 3rd finger, D7, back to G minor, open G. It's quite haunting. It's quite haunting when we hear it like this on the banjo. Then as we progress through, the second time I've just included some rhythm guitar to it, which is very much out of the style of the classical piece that it is, but I think it works really nicely. Aguado was a Spanish composer. I think it worked really nicely with the chordal accompaniment behind the banjo there and that sort of vibe. So very interesting. But essentially we're just playing through the tune twice and the guitar comes in the second time at the beginning there in this lesson. So head on over to pickinglessons.com and grab yourself a copy of this tab. If you want to keep working on this lesson with me, jump on in as a member. We're going to break down the next 4 measures here in what is part A. And then we'll move on through to the B part of the tune, and then we'll look at the form and we'll look at some different strategies for performing it and whatnot. You also have some backing tracks there, so that guitar backing track will be downloadable, and you'll have a play along track with the banjo there as well. So pickinglessons.com, head on over and I'll see you there.